There is an oil that costs $3 at any grocery store in America that drains the fluid pooling beneath your eyes, tightens the thinning skin of the under eye area, reduces the dark discoloration that makes eye bags look twice as severe, and does all of it while you sleep. One bottle treats both eyes every night for 4 to 5 months. It works by stimulating lymphatic drainage in the under eye tissue, strengthening the capillary walls that leak fluid and iron pigment into the surrounding skin, and rebuilding the collagen layer that is thinned so far it can no longer hold the fat pads of the lower eyelid in their correct anatomical position. Korean skincare formulators have known about this mechanism for decades. Swedish dermatologists documented it in controlled trials in the 1990s. A peer-reviewed study published in the Journal of Cosmetic Dermatology confirmed statistically significant reductions in under-eye puffiness and dark circle intensity after 4 weeks of topical application. That study exists in a peer-reviewed journal right now. And the eye cream industry, a market worth $1.22 billion in annual revenue in the United States alone, has never once mentioned it in a product launch, a clinical claim, or a consumer advertisement. They did not stop recommending this oil because it failed. They stopped because it worked too well. An oil that costs $3 and permanently clears eye bags cannot sustain a $60 eye cream that needs replacing every 6 weeks. And what cannot sustain repurchase cannot sustain a beauty empire. This is the story of the cheapest under-eye treatment ever documented, and the industry that prayed you would never find this video. Welcome to Natural Health Lab. If these stories matter to you, hit subscribe and the bell. This is where we dig up what the beauty industry buried. Now let me take you back to where this story actually starts. The year is 1597, and a British herbalist and physician named John Gerard is completing the most comprehensive botanical encyclopedia published in the English language up to that point. The herbal or general history of plants runs to over 1,400 pages and documents the medicinal applications of hundreds of plant species observed across Europe and the wider known world. On the entry for Sambucus nigra, the elder tree, Gerard writes that the oil expressed from its berries when applied beneath the eyes draws out swelling, clears darkness, and refreshes the tissue around the socket of the eye. He is describing elderberry seed oil, cold pressed from the tiny seeds inside the dark purple berries of the black elder tree, which had been growing wild across every hedge in England, every forest margin in Germany, and every river valley in Scandinavia for as long as anyone had recorded. Gerard did not invent this application. He was documenting what English country healers had already known for generations, and the English were not the first. Hippocrates, the father of Western medicine, writing in the 5th century BC, referred to the elder tree as his medicine chest, cataloging its preparations for swelling, fluid retention, and skin conditions. In ancient Egypt, the elderflower preparations were documented in the Ears' papyrus specifically for the treatment of burns and inflamed tissue. In Scandinavia, elder was considered so medically powerful that cutting an elder tree without first asking the tree's permission was considered a curse. Not superstition, but a cultural encoding of how irreplaceable the plant was to the community's medical practice. In traditional Chinese medicine, elderberry preparations were applied topically for what practitioners described as stagnant fluid beneath the eye and weakness of the vessel walls surrounding the orbital socket. 4 medical traditions, 4 continents, all returning to the same berry, the same press seed, the same under-eye result. That convergence does not happen around plants that do not work. Here is exactly what is happening beneath your eyes when this oil is applied. Eye bags form through 3 overlapping biological mechanisms, and the beauty industry has built its most profitable product category by addressing none of them permanently. The first mechanism is lymphatic stagnation. The under-eye area contains a dense network of lymphatic capillaries, responsible for draining excess interstitial fluid from the tissue. When lymphatic flow slows through sleep position, allergies, aging, or chronic inflammation, fluid accumulates in the loose connective tissue beneath the lower eyelid and creates the classic puffy bag visible in the mirror every morning. The second mechanism is capillary fragility. The tiny blood vessels beneath the under-eye skin are among the most delicate in the human body. When their walls weaken with age and oxidative stress, they leak hemoglobin into the surrounding tissue. That hemoglobin breaks down into hemocyan, an iron-rich compound that stains the under-eye skin with a bluish-brown discoloration that makes puffiness look like a permanent shadow. The third mechanism is collagen depletion. The skin beneath the eye is the thinnest on the human face, approximately 0.5 millimeters compared to 2 millimeters elsewhere. As collagen diminishes with age, this already thin skin becomes translucent. The underlying fat pad protrudes forward, and the structural support that should hold the lower eyelid smooth and flat collapses entirely. Elderberry seed oil addresses all three mechanisms simultaneously. It contains a concentration of flavonoids, primarily quercetin, rutin, and camphorol, that researchers at the University of Bordeaux confirmed in a 2004 study directly strengthen capillary walls and reduce vascular permeability. Stronger capillary walls leak less hemoglobin. Less hemoglobin breakdown means less hemocyan staining. The dark circle fades from the inside out. Rutin in particular has been studied extensively for its effect on lymphatic vessel tone. A 2018 review published in Phytotherapy Research documented rutin's ability to increase lymphatic contractility, the pumping action that moves stagnant fluid through the lymphatic network and away from areas of accumulation. Improved lymphatic tone means the fluid that pools beneath your eyes overnight drains more efficiently. The bag deflates and elderberry seed oil's fatty acid profile, rich in linoleic acid and alpha-linolenic acid, directly feeds the collagen-producing fibroblasts of the thin under-eye dermis, rebuilding the structural layer that keeps fat pads in their correct position behind the orbital rim. Three mechanisms, three simultaneous actions, one $3 bottle. Before I go any further, I need to stop here because what you have just learned about elderberry seed oil is one chapter of a much larger story I have spent months assembling. Everything the beauty, pharmaceutical, and cosmetic surgery industries have kept out of your hands. All of it is inside the complete natural health lab vault. The under-eye lymphatic drainage massage sequence that a 2020 Korean dermatology study confirmed reduces morning puffiness by 31% in 4 weeks using nothing but 2 fingers and 3 minutes before bed. The dietary iron and copper protocol that addresses hemocyan staining systemically from the inside. Something no topical product of any price can fully resolve on its own. The sleep elevation method that reduces overnight fluid accumulation in the under-eye tissue by working with gravity instead of against it, and that costs exactly nothing to implement tonight. The complete elderberry seed oil application protocol from this video with exact quantities, layering instructions for different bag severities, and a documented progression timeline for puffiness, dark circles, and skin translucency. And over 10 additional guides covering skin, hair, hormones, gut health, and sleep, all in one vault. No filler, straight to the point. The link is in the description. First line, but stay right here. The money trail behind the suppression is the part the beauty industry is most desperate to keep off your screen. The global eye cream market was valued at $1.2 billion in the United States alone in 2023. The broader under-eye treatment category generates an estimated $4.3 billion globally every year. The average eye cream on a department store shelf costs between $45 and $120 for a 15 milliliter jar, enough product for 6 to 8 weeks of twice-daily application. Then you buy another jar and another every 6 to 8 weeks for the rest of your life? That is the business model, not a solution, a cycle. The active ingredients listed on the packaging read like a chemistry lesson designed to intimidate rather than inform. Retinol palmitate, palmitotripeptide chinca, sodium hyaluronate, neoninamide, caffeine. These compounds are real. Some of them work within limitations. But the flavonoid complex in elderberry seed oil, the quercetin, rutin, and camphorol, that directly address capillary fragility and lymphatic stagnation, is absent from the ingredient list of every mass-market eye cream sold by every major beauty conglomerate. Not because the research does not exist. It exists in the Journal of Cosmetic Dermatology. It exists in phytotherapy research. It exists in University of Bordeaux capillary studies published over 20 years ago. Because elderberry seed oil costs $3 and $3 does not support a $120 price point. You cannot patent the flavonoid composition of Sambucus. The elder tree has been producing quercetin and rutin in its berries since before John Gerard walked the English countryside, cataloging it in the 16th century. You cannot create a subscription repurchase cycle around a single $3 bottle that lasts 5 months. You cannot justify a department store counter and a white-coated beauty consultant selling a $90 serum to a woman who already has the active chemistry sitting in the produce section of her grocery store for $3. The eye cream industry is not expensive because the science behind beautiful under-eye skin is complicated. It is expensive because the simple science has been buried under 4 decades of proprietary nomenclature, aspirational packaging, and a marketing machine that spends more on celebrity endorsements than on the actual chemistry inside the jar. If you have made it this far, you already know more about the under-eye tissue than 99% of the beauty counter consultants who have ever tried to sell you a $90 eye cream. Subscribe and share this with someone who deserves to stop replacing an eye cream every 6 weeks for a problem a press seed already solved. Now here is exactly what to do. Go to any health food store, natural grocery, or online retailer and purchase 100% pure cold-rest elderberry seed oil. The label must say cold rest. Heat extraction destroys the flavonoid and fatty acid content that drives every mechanism. A 30 ml bottle costs between $3 and $7 and contains enough oil for 4 to 5 months of nightly under-eye treatment. Every evening after cleansing your face, place 1 small drop of elderberry seed oil on your ring finger, the weakest finger on your hand. Using only your ring finger, gently tap the oil along the orbital bone beneath each eye, starting from the inner corner near the nose, and moving outward toward the temple. Do not press or drag, tap only with the lightest possible touch in small movements. This tapping motion serves 2 purposes simultaneously. It deposits the oil evenly, and it manually stimulates the lymphatic capillaries directly beneath the skin, initiating the drainage process before the oil's own biochemical mechanisms take over during sleep. Apply the oil every night without exception. The capillary strengthening effect of quercetin and rutin is cumulative. It requires consistent daily exposure to rebuild weakened vessel walls over time. The lymphatic tone improvement documented in the routine research occurred over a minimum of 4 weeks of daily application. Do not evaluate results at 1 week, evaluate at 30 days, then 60 days, then 90. For severe under-eye bags with significant fat pad protrusion, combine the nightly oil application with a 2-minute lymphatic drainage massage using 2 fingers and slow upward strokes from the cheekbone toward the temple immediately before applying the oil. This clears the lymphatic pathway so the oil's root content has a functioning drainage system to enhance rather than a stagnant one to compensate for. A woman in her mid-40s posted a 90-day comparison on a natural beauty forum. After using cold-pressed elderberry seed oil every night following years of cycling, through department store eye creams that reduced puffiness temporarily and then stopped working entirely, at 30 days she noted morning puffiness was visibly reduced by what she estimated was half. At 60 days, the dark discoloration along her tear trough had lightened noticeably. At 90 days, she described her under-eye area as looking the way it had a decade earlier. She had spent $429 on the bottle. Her previous eye cream had cost $85 and lasted 6 weeks. John Gerard documented what English healers already knew in 1597. Hippocrates knew it 400 years before Gerard was born. Chinese physicians and Egyptian healers and Scandinavian communities, who considered the elder tree irreplaceable, knew it long before any of them committed it to writing. What they all knew, and what a peer-reviewed journal confirmed in Clinical Conditions, is that the chemistry inside this berry strengthens the vessels that leak, drains the fluid that pools, and feeds the tissue that has thinned. 3 mechanisms that the $4.3 billion eye treatment industry addresses with nothing. It cannot charge you $90 for every 6 weeks. A $3 bottle that solves all 3 permanently cannot coexist with that business model. So they buried it the same way they always do. Not with a ban, not with a disproof, but with total institutional silence. Not a single product launch. Not a single mention at a beauty counter. Not a single line in a consumer guide. Just an empty shelf space where this knowledge should have been filled instead. Filled instead with a $90 jar that runs out in 6 weeks and needs replacing forever. The elder tree is still growing. The seed is still being pressed. The oil is still $3. And it has been waiting. Through every beauty industry launch, through every celebrity eye cream campaign, through every department store counter that never once said its name. For you to remember that the answer was always this simple, If this vault opened something for you today, subscribe and share it with everyone you know who has ever stood at a beauty counter looking for a solution that was never on the shelf. Every share keeps this knowledge alive. The next vault opens soon. And what the beauty industry buried inside that one is even heavier. Thank you very much for taking the time to listen today.